Hey techies, welcome to Elephant Code. If you are new to the channel, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. You are watching a video from the PySpark playlist.
So welcome back. So today we will be seeing how we can filter the rows based on any kind of, a null value in the attribute. So here we will be taking care of four different part. One is like wherever there is a kind of, any attribute which is consisting of null value, we'll drop that row. And in the second part, we will see how we can use condition along with a null, along with one particular attribute having the null condition. So it's like if you have multiple attribute and you want to combine all those attribute to check whether all these attributes are having null value or not. If that is the kind of thing you need to put it in your filter, you can make use of using the second category which says that filter rows with null in multiple column. And then in the third and fourth, we will see how we can filter out those value which are not null. So those value we will, I mean, for a single column and for a multiple column. So these are the four things which we will be seeing in our code. Okay, so let me go to the code part and check out how we can implement the same. So what I can do, I can just take one new file. So maybe I'm creating one Python file here. So I'll just name it as filter null value. Okay, fine. So now here what I can do, I can just copy paste one of the existing program, and I won't be bothering for all this. Okay, so I'm just deleting everything. Okay, so this is a kind of basic template for me, which I will be using to, write a method which will do all this kind of, filtering out the null value. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me just add one more method, def filter null value. Okay, so here I'll just try to create the data frame by calling one of the method which is creating a data frame. So this is the method which is creating the data frame. So you don't need to actually bother of all what's logic in it. So you can simply use some data set to create your data frame, and then you can use various filter method for dropping the for filtering out the rows from your data frame. Okay, so I'm just using this method to get the data. Okay, now my data is already there in the data frame. So now I can do one thing. I can first before I can just put a documentation before filtering out null value. Okay, so here I'll say df dot show. Okay, and thereafter I'll say print after filtering out null single attribute check for null value. Okay, so I'll just say df dot filter. I can say like this, df dot filter, and then I'll say df, let me check the columns and the data as well. So I have okay, I have this particular data set, okay, which is consisting of id, name, column 3, and in the second part of the program we have bifurcated this column 3 into 3 different columns. So let us not consider that. We'll be operating with the help of this name column. Okay, so here we can see we have 3 different record, third record, sixth record and seventh record, where the name column is having null value. Okay, so we will try to operate on this name column. So I'll say that df of filter. So I can directly, I mean, instead of this, I can just directly use df of name. Yeah, df of name dot is null dot show. Okay, so now if I try to, now I need to call this method as well. So filter. Okay, So this is how we can do it. So let us wait to get the result out on the output window. Df of name is null. Great. So here you can see all those record which are having name column value as null are being displayed here. So as we were checking out in this example, so we were targeting these three record number third, which is having name column as none, and record number six and record number seventh. Okay. So this is how you can drop the, I mean, you can drop all other row except having those rows which are having none column. Okay. Now, and I'm doing one thing. I mean, the same thing can also be written like this: df dot filter, and I'll say that column of name. Okay, and then dot is null. Okay, so this way also you can do it, and then show. Okay. So this is the second way you can with which you can do it. Let me comment out the first one and let us see the output. Okay, so the same thing can also be done in this way. You can make use of column function, which is existing in pyspark.sql.Function. You can use this function, and then you can use this method is null, and that will also give you exactly similar result. Okay. Okay, so here you can see here also we get the three different rows where the name is consisting of null. Okay, now the third way is like you can do it like this as well. Df of filter where is name is null. So this way also you can do it. Let me check. I've never done this way, but this can also be done in this way. Okay, let me check if it is working or not. It's a kind of SQL format. Let's see. Great. So it is also working. So here you can say from the with the help of this filter way also we can do it. Okay. So this is also working. Okay. Okay. Okay, now what we will do, we will see how we can make use of, I mean, if you see this multiple column, how we can filter out rows having the null value in multiple column. Okay, so let us do one thing. So what we will do, we'll consider ID and name column. Those rows which are having ID as null and name as null, those rows we will be keeping it in our output, and rest rows we will be removing it out. In the sense we will filter it out. Okay, so so let me just add one more documentation here. Filter based on multiple null filter based on multiple column. Okay, so here I can do df of filter, then I will say call, I can say like this also, df of name is null, and I'll say df dot id dot is null. Okay, and then I'll say that show me the filtered output. Okay, so let us execute this and see if it is working fine. So we are expecting here only one single row. Okay, so it is like before filtering, and after filtering we are getting only one row as we were expecting, because we had only one row where the id and name both column had the null value. Okay, similarly, you can do it in this way as well, I believe. Let us do with the SQL way, okay? Since I'm also hardly using this SQL way, so let me also try out here where name is null, and in SQL we are writing a and, okay? And ID id is null dot show. I'm not sure whether it will work or not, so let's see. Because I mean, as per SQL is concerned, this is a kind of statement we write. So I've also written the same statement. I hope it should work. Great, it is working. Look, it is working. Okay, so it is working, and this way you can make use of the SQL format. And then the last format which we were using is df of filter, and then we can say df of name. No, I mean that we have already used, so we can make use of call function. Name is null, and call of id is null. Okay, and then we'll say dot show. So I can comment it out, else we'll be having three different output. Fine. So it should also work. So this is just a different way of doing the same thing. Great. So it is also working. Okay. Now our first and second part is done. Now the third part is filter rows with not null. Okay. So now we will be using not null. Okay. So I can do one thing. I can just comment out the entire part. Now here I'll just add one more documentation before not null filter. Okay. Now here how we can do df of filter, and then I'll say df of name is not null. I think this is how the syntax is. Let's see. I mean, this is for one column. Sure. First df of show print after filter. Okay. So let me just execute it. Okay. So first we just print out all the data. Okay. And after data. So here we can see, let us go to the data. So here what we are saying, that where the name is not null, display all those values. So this is the name field. Okay. So it is not null. This is not null. This is null. So this should be filtered out. And then this one and this one. So we are expecting 4 rows: Vikram, Harsha, Raj, and Raj. Okay. So let us check. Yeah, this is exactly what we have got in our output. Okay. Now if you want to do it with the other way, you can do it filter. So you can do call name is not null. Okay. So this way also you can do, and this way also you can do df of filter. This is the SQL way. Name is not null. Okay. In SQL we write like this: name is not null. Okay. Dot show. So all the three outputs should match. Let us execute the code to see if it is giving the same output for all these three different kind of filter on the same data frame. Great. So here if you see, all three different output are having exactly similar for record which we are getting. Okay, so this was expected, and exactly the same thing came. Okay. Great. Now we will apply not null. Okay, because that's the last part, correct? Filter those with not null. Okay, you can do one thing. You can add mm, 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 okay. I'm just doing one thing. I'm changing this data set to have this particular uh, field as none. So if you do like this, what will happen? We have put a condition on name, not the ID. Okay. Now we will combine two different column. Okay, good. Okay, see here, if you see the data is having this particular data, the fifth record is having ID as null and name is having large. Okay, but in the result set, if you see, this is also appearing, correct? Why? Because our condition is only based on the name condition. Okay, so now what we will do, we will add one more condition in the same you know, multiple condition. So I'll just comment it out and I'll just write like this: print okay, let this be opened. Okay, let it be closed only. I can put a new documentation before multiple check on multiple column check for not null. Okay, and here I'll say df of do show. Similarly, what we can do, print after filter. Okay, so here I'm doing df of filter, so I'm adding multiple condition here. So I'll say that okay, df of name dot is not null and df dot id dot is not null is not null. Okay, dot show. Let us put all three way. Okay, df dot filter, then column of name dot is not null and df sorry call of id is not null. Okay, dot show. Okay, now the third way is SQL way, df dot filter, then I'll say name is not null and id is not null dot show. Okay, so we can see, so we have used three different way for is not null and we have taken multiple column to check here. Okay, so here you can see the result is consistent for all three statement which is doing the same task but in a different way. Okay, so one is using df.name dot is not null, one is using this column function to extract the column value and then comparing it with is not null method. Okay, and the third way is using a SQL kind of format. Okay, so here you can see uh, this this record is dropped because name and id column is null in this, This record is also dropped because the name column is dropped in it, and this record is also dropped because the ID column is null in it. Okay, so the and this row is also getting dropped because name column is having null in it. So the resultant output should be 1, 2, and 4. Okay, so here you can see in the first way we have received 1, 2, and 4, which is absolutely correct output. In the second way also, where we have used this column function, so it is also giving me exactly the similar output 1, 2, and 4, which is expected. And finally the SQL variant of the same task is also giving me the same output 1, 2, and 4. So okay, I hope you must have understood how we can make use of this filter. And in case if you have any doubt, you can just add your doubt in the comment section. Okay, now let us go and check out the quiz, and please do reply to quiz.
Elephant quiz of the day. How can you split a single column into multiple columns in a PySpark data frame? Option A, using the split function with a delimiter. Option B, applying the explode function with a separator. Option C, utilizing the split columns method with specified column names. Or option D, implementing the split column method with a delimiter. Please mention your answer in the comment section below. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe Elephant Code for future updates.